morning and welcome to By the People. My name is Debra Park. Buffalo is a city that has many jewels, but among those that shine the brightest is the Colored Musicians Club of Buffalo. The club, its musicians past and present, are what we'll focus on today, all brought together because of the American art form we call jazz. I'm joined by my friend Van Taylor, Taylor-Made Jazz. Good morning.
How are you?
And Melissa Kate, a renowned international vocalist. And also, I'm a big fan of Carol McLaughlin, the sax player and band leader, originally from Jamaica, right?
Yes, yes.
And have enjoyed many evenings watching you play. I'm so grateful that you got up early to be on By the People. Your musicians are on a different time clock.
Absolutely.
Than the rest of the world, right?
Sure.
It's called 24 hours.
Right.
That's right. Yeah. My day hasn't ended yet. It started sometime yesterday, but it hasn't ended yet.
Well, there's a lot to talk about on today's show.
Yes,
and
there is.
we have a treat for our audience a little bit later. We won't tell them just yet. But you're here for a couple of reasons. The first is that the Colored Musicians Club is almost 100 years old, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It started in 1917 and was chartered in 1935. It actually is the longest running African-American club of its type in the United States. We're celebrating our 6th annual jazz festival called the Queen City Jazz Festival, and of course named after the city, was our talent from the club to entertain people throughout Western New York or Buffalo, Canada. Come on down, have a great time.
That's right. That's on July 31st.
July 30th.
And
That's right.
July 30th.
Saturday.
Okay, Saturday, July 30th.
That's right.
The Colored Musicians Club, though, was something that was founded really because of segregation. There was a musicians' union,
That's
right?
right. And the thing about that was you had two unions, the Black Musicians Union, and you had the AFM. And the thing is, they merged together when a certain bill was passed. And as a result, a lot of the war chest or the financial parts of it were absorbed. So the club had to struggle on its own to maintain itself throughout the 30s and so forth and on up. But since that time, our predecessors have worked very hard to keep it going. Our current president, George Scott, has worked hard to initiate a museum there, along with all the talent there, and the festival is part of that, to its ongoing history, to push things forward.
Now, the festival, is that free and open to the public? Is there a charge for it?
Yes, it is. It's free. It's open to the public. We have to thank our various sponsors throughout the area that have helped us. And it's an ongoing process. It's getting bigger and bigger each and every year. Melissa Kate is one of our performers this year, as well as Carol McLaughlin. Will Holton, Groovology, a young group coming up, doing a lot of great things. But we have two big bands. Carol's band is going to be on. The Larry Salter's big band is going to be on. And Herbie Small, as well as Walter Cliff.
Yeah.
That makes up our entertainment for this year. It's going to be an exciting time, something for everyone.
You know, when you think about the Colored Musicians Club, you think about the best musicians in the world.
Well, that's part of its history.
At the Colored Musicians Club.
That's right.
What a legacy to follow.
Well, and it's living and breathing. I mean, it just keeps going. We have a lot of young kids who are coming up and learning from my generation, from Carol's.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have 16, 17-year-olds who are starting to initiate the careers at the club today.
How did you get involved with it?
Well, I was blessed. Van has been mentoring me for a few years, and he introduced me to George, and so now I've been singing with the George Scott Big Band for quite a while. Carol worked with me for quite a bit too, so I was introduced to his band. So I've just been in and out of the club for the last 6 years.
And Carol came from Jamaica to Buffalo, New York. Most people don't go from the hot to the cold.
I guess I wanted to see what snow looked like.
You liked it and you stayed, right?
But yes, I figured I couldn't take it back with me, and I like it, so stay with it.
And this is your career. You've made your career, you know, home base is Buffalo, obviously.
Yeah.
Truly a living legend. That's what I was
He is a living legend. You know, people really should look, you know, go to the Jazz Fest and hear his band and hear Melissa and.
Well, you know, the thing that I point out to a lot of people always ask me, when you say the Colored Musicians Club, they'll go, well, what kind of people come? Well, I said, well, I choose to say, I use the word for what I believe it to be, all colors, like a rainbow. So you will see black, white, Hispanic, Puerto Rican, red, yellow, everybody comes. So I take a rainbow approach to the word colored.
Right.
So,
I mean, we're really going to appreciate what is a unique art form
Well, sure
for
it is.
America, jazz.
Jazz, yes it is. And it's when it comes to exportation, of course my group Taylor Made Jazz plays overseas, it's appreciated overseas. So as time goes on, I'm going to reintroduce the club to the world.
Excellent. Now, one of the things that's really exciting for the club right now, it's a historic landmark.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yes.
That's fabulous. But also, it's about to embark on creating a museum, which is so important in keeping this history alive. Because I don't think people appreciate the people who have passed through this museum, through the club.
Well,
So-
absolutely, absolutely. As you look at the diagrams, courtesy of Hadley and Company, it's going to be interactive type of setup with computers. You'll be able to go in, listen to music, as well as interact with playing with different keys and instruments there in the museum part. You'll be able to see videos of some of the groups from back in the day, listen to some of their music as well.
Oh, we can see in this drawing
That's right.
that there's some of the jazz greats are up around
You'll be
in
able to
that
see the
drawing.
history, hear the history, as not only that, but even our current legends, such as the Carrolls or you know, Al Tenney and so forth will also be part of this as well, and the next generation coming up. So it's designed to entertain the young folks of the day, educate them, as well as anybody else who's a visitor to Buffalo who doesn't know our history.
Let's drop some names, though, because you know we've talked about jazz greats, but let's talk about the people who have played in the club.
You can take this.
Well, local people are, excuse me, are out of towners because we have had Dizzy Gillespie coming there, Charlie Parker, not Freddie Hubbard, Clifford Brown.
Miles was there, right?
That's
Miles
right.
Davis.
Got pictures of him
Miles
there.
was there, yes. And
Ella Fitzgerald. This was the regular route from, say, if you've gone from West Coast to East Coast, you had to come through Buffalo back in that day because of how the trains ran, how the ships passed through the Erie Canal. So this was part of it. You went from here, and then we got our entertainment here, and then you went up to Niagara Falls for those that went up to the falls, either into Toronto and then onward to Syracuse and then into New York City, and vice versa, coming back. So you came through Buffalo. The club at the local, you stopped in, you signed in. So we have, as part of our document, a book with all the signatures, which verifies all the acts, all the famous people who have ever been there. We've got it documented.
Wow, that's unbelievable. And
Yeah.
people will be able to see that when the museum is completed.
That's right.
I'm assuming that the museum is also looking for historic artifacts that would be a part of
Anybody
these
out there who
exhibits,
has
right?
Something, maybe in your closet or attic from your grandfather, great-grandfather, or mother that can help us, please contact George Scott at the Colored Musician Club. He's worked so hard at bringing all this together and making it happen.
It's like playing, for Buffalonians, it's like playing at the Apollo in New York. It really is. What is the kind of magic? Like, tell me about the first time you all played. What was the first time you played there? What was what was in your head?
Well, when I first arrived on the scene, and it's a brief story, I came up to this bar and I wanted to learn jazz standards, and there was this gentleman sitting at the bar. And I said,
How old are you at this point?
Oh, goodness gracious, I'm not going to tell. But I was young. And he encouraged me, actually, to play original music. And his name was Al Tenney. He's passed on.
The piano player, fabulous Al Tenney.
That's right. And he encouraged me to play original music. But I said, I came up to learn jazz standards. He goes, that's great. Let me see what you got. And so my first experience was with Al Tenney. And he set me on the course that I am today, and writing songs and so forth. But at the same time, I watched him play all these famous tunes. And matter of fact, I videotaped him with this gentleman here, and I should have brought a copy of that, and some of his original music. And but that was actually my first experience, different than a lot of people. So he encouraged me to write my own jazz.
And Melissa, what was your first experience?
Gosh, you know, I don't actually remember the first time I was up there. But working with the George Scott Big Band is where I've been focused, and performing for the Easter Ball. Every year we have an Easter Ball, and everybody comes, and we have a couple groups play, and it was incredible just to look out and see so many. I mean, the club was packed, and just to see so many people who really love to come and really just sit down and enjoy music. That's my experience with the club. I love seeing all the different visitors that we get. We rehearse every Monday night, and people come up from all over, from Toronto, from California, and they say, you know, we read about the club, we wanted to check it out. And so I just love being there and meeting the folks who come through. And
Carol, you came from Jamaica and settled here.
Well, I came up for a visit before I actually moved in to live. I went to the Anchor Bar and met George Holt. Now, that's father to the politician. And I had my horn and I sat in with them, and he suggested that, you know, when you come back, give me a call, I'll take you up to the club and introduce you to the fellas. I said, okay. So I came back, and he took me up to the club and introduced me to Elvin Shepherd, C.Q. Price, and all these guys. And there's a fellow, you know, most of them are gone. And Graf Young, C.Q. Price needed a barrel sax player for a gig. I didn't have a barrel sax, but you know, saxophones are all the same once you have a mouthpiece to fit. And so he loaned me his barrel sax, and I did a gig with C.Q. Price, a couple of gigs with him. Then afterwards, Elvin Shepherd needed a second tenor in his band. So I got in his band and played a few gigs with them. And of course, we had a guy named Lou Hackney, who's an excellent bass player and saxophone player. He actually played a couple of gigs with Dizzy Gillespie, so you know, the caliber musician. But he had a certain penchant for testing musicians. And since I was, you know, from the island, he looked me up and I was playing the bass and said, oh, you're from the island? Okay. And that's what you got. I said, well, you know. So they started a 12-bar blues, B flat, and they started playing. All of a sudden I heard B major, and playing. I'm going right up the chromatic scale. And so the other guys understand and fell out, you know. Trumpet player said, man, I don't play in that key, you know, when I got to D flat. And I hung in there, you know, and so afterwards say, hey, you're not bad. Yeah, you know, you hung in there. So,
your mama made you practice, and you could hang in there, right?
But you see, unbeknownst to him, you see, I was playing on the ship, and then I played tenor, alto flute, soprano flute. So any night, any song, I could play all the keys with those different instruments. So transposing from key to key was no problem to me. But he didn't know that. So when he put me to the paces,
you're already ready.
I was